A Visitor's Guide to Besao, What You Need to Know Before You Go. There is a certain kind of place in this world that does not announce itself. It does not put up flashy tarpaulins on a provincial highway or hire social media influencers to post aesthetic reels of its sunsets. It simply exists, quietly magnificent, wrapped in pine-scented fog in the ancient memory of mountains. Besao, mountain province, is exactly that kind of place. And if you have stumbled upon this guide, consider yourself lucky, because what waits for you at the end of that winding road from Baguio City is something that most Filipino tourists and even most Cordillerans have not yet had the privilege to witness. This is not Sagada. Besao is Sagada's quieter, fiercer, more deeply rooted neighbor to the west. It does not have a coffee shop with fairy lights or a tour package with a catchy hashtag already attached to it. What it has instead is something far more rare in this age of over-tourism and Instagram filters. It has soul. It has the kind of living, breathing indigenous culture that does not perform for outsiders but generously shares itself with those who come with humility, respect, and a genuine appetite for wonder. So pack a good jacket, charge your camera, and prepare to be changed. Where in the world is Besao? Let us start with geography, because understanding where Besao sits in the map of the Cordillera will completely reshape how you feel about it. Besao is a municipality nestled in the westernmost part of Mountain Province, perched in the Cordillera's central range of northern Luzon. It is bordered by Tubo and Abra to the north, Tadian to the south, and the famous tourist town of Sagada to the east. To its west lies the province of Ilocos Sur, and on clear days, from the right ridge in Besao, you can actually see the distant landscapes that border those provinces unfolding below you like a rumpled green blanket. The town sits approximately 150 kilometers from Baguio City and only 28 kilometers from Bontoc, the capital of Mountain Province. From Sagada, it is a short 8-kilometer drive, which means that if you are already doing the usual Sagada tour, Besao is practically next door and begging to be visited. In terms of elevation, Besao is not playing small. Its altitudes range from 400 meters above sea level at its lower fringes to over 2,300 meters at the summit of Mount Comingmingle. That is highland Cordillera territory, which means the air is cold, crisp, and absolutely intoxicating. Besao is Sagada's quieter, fiercer, more deeply rooted neighbor. It does not perform for outsiders. It simply exists magnificently. About 85% of Besao's land area is classified as forest lands, timberlands, or unclassified forest. This is not a place that has been carved up by malls and subdivisions. It is, by the law of its own land, a forest. Pine trees dominate the slopes. Mossy forests cling to its higher peaks. Rice terraces fan out across the valleys in geometric waves that generations of Kankanai hands have shaped from raw mountain stone. The municipality is composed of 14 barangays, each with its own personality, its own microhistory, and its own unwritten rules of engagement. The name and the people behind it. Before you arrive, it helps to know a little bit about who built this place. The name Besao is believed to have evolved from the Ilocano word buso, which means headhunter. The early Besaos were reportedly among the most formidable highland warriors in the region, and the communities surrounding these mountains recognized their ferocity. Over time, Buso softened into Besao, and the people who carry that name today are not fiercer in war, but fiercer in culture, in pride, and in their determination to protect what their ancestors left them. The people of Besao are part of the Northern Kankanay ethno-linguistic group, sometimes called Aplai or Lepanto Igorot in older literature. The Kankanay of Mountain Province, including those in Sagada, Tadian, Bauco, and Besao, share a common language and a broadly similar set of traditions. But every municipality has its own local expressions of that shared heritage, and Besao's expression is particularly rich and, in several respects, entirely unique to itself. These are not museum people. They are not reenactors. The rituals you may witness in Besao, if you are fortunate and respectful enough to be invited to witness them, are living practices that continue to shape the rhythms of daily life. The Ibasao, as they call themselves, are rice terrace agriculturists at heart. Their entire cosmology, their calendar, their festivals, their architecture, and their social structure revolve around rice, the mountains, and the ancestral spirits that they believe continue to watch over both. Their communal institutions are anchored in the Dape, the traditional meeting place and council circle of stone where elders gather to make decisions, pass down knowledge, and read the signals of the natural world. The Guede stone calendar, the Stonehenge of the Philippines. If there is one thing in Besao that should be on every traveler's must-see list, in every Besao's source of bottomless pride, it is the Guede stone calendar. Located in Sitio Guede at the Dap A Awao in Barangay Guede, this ancient astronomical monument has been officially declared a national landmark by the National Museum of the Philippines. It is, in every meaningful sense, the Cordillera's own Stonehenge, though built with a distinctly Kankanaey genius for reading the heavens through the earth beneath your feet. Here is how it works. Every year on September 30th, the elders of the Agawa community and anyone with the good fortune to be present gather at the Mother Dape before sunrise. They lie on the stone calendar and wait. What happens next is nothing short of breathtaking. As the sun crests the eastern horizon, its rays travel like a laser beam through a niche in the towering rock called Ambayon Bato on Mount Langsian and strike the stone calendar with pinpoint precision. That beam of light is not random. It is an astronomical alignment that the ancestors of the Agawa calculated and used to mark the beginning of the agricultural year, specifically the signal to begin sowing rice seeds. The month is called Adog in the indigenous Agawa calendar, one of 12 agricultural months that the Besao use to organize planting and harvesting. Adog begins when migrating birds called kailing start to chirp in September, signaling that no typhoon is imminent. When the sun finally aligns with Ambaon Bato and the stone calendar confirms it, the community knows it is time to plant. This is not superstition. This is Cordilleran astronomy, millennia of careful observation encoded into stone and ritual. The sun's rays travel like a laser beam through a niche in a mountain rock and strike the stone calendar with pinpoint precision. This is not superstition. This is Cordilleran astronomy. The celebration that accompanies this solar event is called Kasilapad, and it is one of the most heartfelt community gatherings in all of Mountain Province. Households pound glutinous rice and cook the beloved linapet, a native rice cake filled with crushed peanuts and wrapped in banana leaves. They share it with neighbors, relatives, and anyone who wanders into the celebration with an open heart. The theme is gratitude, cultural solidarity, and the binding force of shared tradition. To be in Gede on September 30th is to be present at something the world has not yet fully discovered. But now you know. Waterfalls that will make you forget your name in your Katugangan. Besao is not just a cultural destination. It is a place of extraordinary natural beauty, and its waterfalls are some of the most spectacular and least photographed in the entire Cordillera region. For adventurous travelers willing to hike through dense forest, cross creeks, and follow local guides into the wilderness, the reward is singular. Tagpeo Falls is the one that tends to leave visitors speechless. It plunges approximately 75 meters down the face of a massive rock cliff, and the journey to reach it involves hours of hiking through pristine forest, crossing brooks, and navigating terrain that has never been touched by concrete or guardrails. This is hiking at its most honest. There is no cable car, no Instagrammable viewing deck, and no overpriced convenience store halfway up. There is only trail, forest, water, and the growing sound of something enormous falling in the distance. Then there is Daoyasan Falls, which may well be the widest waterfall in all of Mountain Province. Its vertical drop is around 10 meters, but its horizontal spread exceeds 80 meters at its widest point. The tradition among those who visit is to lie down in the water and let it cascade over you like a natural massage. Locals will tell you this, and they are absolutely right. Bibidoan Falls rounds out the triumvirate, standing around 30 meters tall and featuring a naturally formed pool with crystal clear, bitterly cold water. The rock cliffs surrounding the pool are popular jumping platforms for the brave. Just make sure, as the locals say, that you hit the deep waters. Visible from a distance and towering over the Bakuta rice terraces is Kitkatao Eng Falls, measuring around 100 meters and offering one of the most dramatic visual compositions in the municipality. You do not need to hike all the way to it to be moved. Simply standing on the road with that waterfall in the background and rice terraces in the foreground is a photograph that needs no filter. The rice terraces and the living landscape. The rice terraces of Besao do not have the UNESCO World Heritage designation that their cousins in Banao enjoy, but in terms of sheer drama and unspoiled beauty, they will hold their own in any comparison. Carved into the steep mountain slopes over generations of painstaking labor, the terraces of barangays like Bakuta and Bangitan cascade down the mountainsides in steps of green and gold depending on the season. When you drive along the Besao-Sagada Road or the road to Barangay Bangitan and a panoramic view of those terraces suddenly opens up before you, the instinct is to pull over and stare for a very long time. These are not decorative terraces kept alive for tourism. They are still actively farmed by the Ibasao. Families still plant, nurture, and harvest rice here through the same cycle of prayer, labor, and community that their grandparents practiced. The terraces are a living agricultural system, and walking near them during planting or harvest season, you will witness the full rhythm of Cordilleran agrarian life. Bent backs, mud-stained feet, songs pass between workers across the ridges, and the scent of fresh earth mixed with mountain air. The Ubaya Festival, when Besao comes alive. Every year in late February or early March, Besao holds the Ubaya Festival, its founding anniversary celebration. This is the time when the whole municipality comes together in its most festive expression. Traditional dances fill the streets. The resonant clanging of gangsa flat gongs fills the mountain air. Women dressed in Panilian cloth, the beautiful brocade-style textile woven in intricate grid patterns that is a Kankani craft tradition, move through festival grounds in colors that feel both ancient and vivid. The Ubaya Festival is the perfect time for an outsider to witness the beauty of Ibasao culture in its most celebratory form. Though even then, the operative word is witness, not consume. Ubaya is meant to be a respiteful period after hard works in the fields, but the local government combined it with the celebration of the municipal's founding anniversary celebration. The Kanyao, the traditional sacrificial feast that invokes ancestral blessings for communal well-being, marks the more solemn ceremonial aspects of Besao community life. Pigs and carabaos are offered in thanksgiving to the spirits, and communal meals bind the community together in ways that no government program or corporate team-building exercise could replicate. The gangsagongs do not just provide entertainment during these events. They create interlocking rhythms that the Kankanaey understand as a sonic representation of harmony, the kind of harmony that only communities with centuries of practice know how to produce. Practical things you actually need to know. Here is where this guide gets honest with you, because Besao is not a town that caters to tourists in the way that Sagada or Baguio does, and that is intentional. The Ibasao have made a conscious choice to preserve their culture over opening floodgates to mass tourism, and every visitor owes them the respect of understanding that before arriving. Getting to Besao from Baguio City involves taking a bus or van bound for Bontoc through the Halsama Highway, one of the highest national roads in the Philippines. From Bontoc, jeepneys travel the 28 kilometers to Besao. Alternatively, if you are already in Sagada, a short 8-kilometer drive along the Besao-Sagada Road will bring you to the town proper. From Sagada, jeepneys for hire are usually available. Solo travelers are strongly advised to connect with other travelers or arrange with local contacts before heading to remote barangays, partly for safety and partly because the experience is simply better with local guidance. There are no DOT-accredited hotels or inns in Besao at present. The Besao Multipurpose Cooperative within the town center can accommodate visitors, and the genuine hospitality of the Ibasao means that in more remote barangays, local families will often warmly open their homes to respectful guests. This is not a hotel experience. This is community immersion, and it is worth infinitely more than any air-conditioned room in a mountain resort. The tourism office should be your first stop. The local officials and tourism officers are the best people to help you set up an itinerary, arrange guides for remote falls and trails, and introduce you to the community in a way that is mutually respectful. Always secure a local guide when heading to the waterfalls and mountains. These are not trails with signage every 50 meters. They are genuine wilderness routes where getting lost is a real possibility. On the matter of dress and conduct, Besao is conservative by intention. Revealing clothing, public displays of affection, and loud or disrespectful behavior are unwelcome here, and the community has a right to enforce that expectation. You are a guest in an indigenous municipality. Dress modestly, speak gently, and follow the lead of your local host. Do not litter, do not smoke in inappropriate places, and absolutely do not spittle around the community. Signs prohibiting the spitting of mama or spent betel nut are posted for a reason. The Besao are immaculately proud of their environment and their culture, and they expect visitors to share that pride. You are a guest in an indigenous municipality. Come with humility, dress modestly, speak gently, and you will leave with something no package tour can sell you, a genuine connection. What to eat, the taste of the mountains. Food in Besao is simple, honest, and deeply satisfying. The linnipet is the definitive Besao food experience, a sticky rice cake filled with crushed peanuts and wrapped in banana leaves that is simultaneously a snack and a cultural artifact. If you are fortunate enough to be in Besao around September 30th, you will taste it in its most meaningful context, shared among community members during the Kasilapet celebration. Even outside of festival season, ask for linnipet, and you will almost certainly find someone willing to prepare it. Mountain province food in general revolves around the staples of highland agriculture, native rice, vegetables like camote tops, squash, and sayote, and when occasion calls for it, pork or chicken prepared in community-style cooking. Tepi, the traditional rice wine of the Cordillera, is central to many social and ceremonial occasions in Besao. Made through a fermentation process that is itself a form of indigenous knowledge passed down through generations, Tepi is offered to guests as an act of welcome and community. Drinking it is not just consuming a beverage, it is participating in a tradition. The Anapukau Trail in the soul of the forest. For hikers and nature lovers, the Anapukau Trail is one of Besao's best-kept secrets. This trail winds through pine groves, passes ancient stone terraces, and leads through ritual sites that sit well off the usual tourist circuits. It is the kind of trail where you stop not because you are tired, but because the view or the silence demands that you stop and pay attention. The hike from Sagada through this trail into Besao territory connects two worlds in a single journey and gives you a felt sense of the landscape that no road trip can provide. Registered hiking trails in the area include routes past St. Benedict's Parish Church along the Sagada-Besao Road, with views of the Besao rice terraces available to those willing to do a moderate uphill and downhill climb. The trail to Lake Danum, which starts near the Besao Elementary School, is another option for those who want a sunset and lake experience in the most unhurried setting imaginable. All trails list 7 scenic routes in and around Besao, ranging from moderate to hard, and every single one of them comes with views that will make you question your decision to spend your vacation in a beach resort. For the Besao reading this, a word just for you. To every Besao who finds this essay in their feed or their inbox, especially those who carry Besao in their hearts from far away, this is written with the deepest respect for what your community has built and what it continues to protect. The fact that your leadership has chosen to preserve culture over profit is not a failure of development. It is an act of extraordinary wisdom in a world that is destroying everything beautiful in the name of economic growth. Your dape, your gangsa, your terraces, your tepi, your stone calendar at G'day that aligns with the sun every September 30th with the precision of a people who learned to read the universe long before telescopes were invented. These are not quaint relics. They are living proof that human civilization does not require highways and Wi-Fi to be profound. To the young Besao who may be reading this from Baguio City, Manila, or anywhere else in the world, the longing you feel when September comes around, or when you smell pine trees, or when you hear gangsa music in a video someone posted from home, is not nostalgia. It is identity. It is the mountain calling its own. Besao will always be there, and Besao needs you to carry its name with the same fierce pride that your ancestors carried their stones up those slopes. One last thing before you go. Besao does not need you to visit it in order to survive. It has been surviving and in many respects thriving for centuries without the validation of tourists and travel bloggers. But it does offer you something extraordinary in exchange for your respectful presence, the experience of a place that has refused to become something it is not. In a world saturated with manufactured authenticity and curated travel experiences, Besao is the real thing. It is a community that still knows why it exists, still remembers where it came from, and still looks to the sunrise over Ambaumbato every September for confirmation that the year is turning right. Go there, arrive with humility, listen more than you speak, eat the linapet, walk the terraces, let the cold mountain air clear everything unnecessary out of your lungs.